Two men have been jailed for life for the murder of a taxi driver who was beaten to death after asking his passengers not to eat in his car. Ali Asghar is 39, was set upon by their men in the early hours of October the 30th, 2021 after picking them up in his taxi. He suffered catastrophic head injuries in a brutal attack after he challenged one of the passengers about eating a chicken burger and chips inside his vehicle. Mr. Asghar was punched in the head by Conor McPartland, who's 20 years old, and Martin Treacy, who's 18, and then kicked while he lay on the ground. He died in hospital 2 weeks later, so I just want to say rest in peace, Mr. Asghar, and my condolences go out to your family. The defendants were convicted of his murder by a jury at Manchester Crown Court. Mr. Asghar's family described him as a loving and devoted son, brother and friend who will be forever missed. At a sentencing hearing, the victim's younger brother said he initially walked past Mr. Asghar as he lay on a stretcher in a hospital corridor. He said Ali's face was unrecognisable from the bloodied facial injuries he had sustained. It was only as I passed his shoes that I had recognised these belonging to my brother. So McPartland was jailed for 14 years and 6 months and Treacy was jailed for 13 years and 6 months. Manchester Crown Court heard how the pair had been out in Oldham Town Centre on October the 29th last year before McPartland ordered an Uber to take them to Rochdale. They were planning to meet up with women and then attend a house party. McPartland asked to be taken to Coco's in Rochdale, but had meant to say Coco's, which is a nightclub in the town centre, whereas the other Coco is a restaurant just outside the town centre. The mix-up was resolved, but Mr. Asghar pulled up shortly after because Treacy had started eating a chicken burger and chips in the back of the taxi. Martin Treacy swore at him and refused to stop eating. There was CCTV footage which captured Mr. Asghar pulling over near a petrol station at about 4 a.m, and that's when he was subjected to a ferocious, brutal and totally unforgiving attack, the court heard. He was pushed to the floor and had his head banged against the wheel of the car, which caused him to bleed heavily. He suffered catastrophic brain injuries and died 2 weeks later. The judge accepted that they had not intended to kill Mr. Asghar and that the attack was not premeditated. He also took their age into account when passing the sentence. He also praised another taxi driver who tried to intervene and gave him a £500 reward for his public-spirited actions. The defence for Treacy, Jamie Hamilton QC, said in many ways this is a young man who may have never troubled the courts if it were not for the circumstances that arose that night. And Mark Ryan, the QC for McPartland, said he is ashamed and embarrassed of his behaviour and understands the devastation he has caused. After the hearing, the senior investigating officer Phil Reid of Greater Manchester Police said this senseless action of Treacy and McPartland that morning was utterly despicable and led to a family losing a much-loved son and brother. These two men are clearly violent individuals, and I am relieved that they are now off our streets and have time to think about their actions and the hurt and sorrow they have caused. The judge today highly commended the taxi driver for his actions in attempting to save Ali's life, and I'd also like to thank him for his bravery. So guys, that's a new story coming up from the Northwest. I just want to say rest in peace, Mr. Asghar, and my condolences go out to your family. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real.